Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV, and we got the smiling assassin there. We got the it could be the laughing policeman. That is Bernard Dineen. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, well, we're great, aren't we, mate? Hey, we're on the roll again now. This is it. End of all the problems.
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on. We won 2 games on the bounce. It must have been since October since we last won 2 games on the bounce, I think. Must be. It's a long time. It's a long time coming. And obviously, we're quite happy about it. City have beaten Red Star Belgrade in their own backyard by 3 goals to 2. Lots of positives from the game, I'm sure. Some more concerns, but that's the way City are at the moment. Ups and downs. We're more up and down. No, I can't say that joke on a family show. But look, City won the game. So let's start off with the positives. We've got a Micah that we can be proud of. He scored a nice goal, well, cracking goal actually. Won the penalty. All right, a bit of a dive, but he won the penalty. It was a legit penalty. We got Oscar Bob bobbed up with a fantastic finish. Your man, your favourite City player at the moment, Kalvin Phillips, scored a penalty. Wonderful finish. So let's start off with the positives. Let's not mention Kalvin. We'll come to him in a minute. Let's talk about the kids. I've got to say up front, I didn't watch the full game. I was working last night. I watched the highlights. 6 minutes worth of highlights. It's plenty to see in 6 minutes. What do you think of Micah Hamilton and Oscar Bob after yesterday?
Yeah, well, I think we've seen Oscar Bob before. We're well aware of his calm head on young shoulders, I think, Oscar Bob. I think he's a great little player. Very impressed pre-season when we went over to wherever we went, Japan or wherever we were, I can't remember now. Very impressed with him then. And of course, Micah, I've never seen him at all, I don't think. Not that I can remember.
I've heard of him.
Might have seen a highlight somewhere on the EDS or under 23s or whatever. But, I mean, you look at that team last night, 9 changes to the Luton game.
Yeah.
I mean, I did predict 1-1, and I thought we're going to get beat here. I thought you can't make 9 changes, put these kids in, and expect. You know, I'm not saying he threw them under the bus, but you know, his faith he had was obviously to some extent correct.
Yeah.
I don't think most of us thought that at the time. We thought it was a decision to give them a go, but hey, they didn't show us up. Fantastic, certainly the younger lads, Hamilton and Bob. Not perfect by any means. I mean, I think Hamilton got a 9 out of 10 from Mr. Bukowski. I'm not going to go that much, but you know, having said that, having slept on it, I thought, why not? You know, perhaps it should have been a 9 or a 10 out of 10 because of the circumstances.
How old is, the kid is? How old is Micah? Sorry.
They're both older than Rico, aren't they? They're both
Bob's about 21, I think.
Both 21, I think. Yeah, something like that.
I
know Rico. You know, it's hard to think, in it, Rico's the old one now, and he's actually younger by years, but obviously mature as in on the pitch. But fantastic. And he just stepped up for me. I knew we weren't going to do it for 90 minutes because obviously lads tire, and a couple of late changes by Pep disrupted the flow a little bit, which probably caused us to be hanging on a little bit by the end. But no, excellent. I don't think we could have asked of any more of them, in fairness.
Yeah. Well, Micah Hamilton, I'm just checking. He is 20 years old, just turned 20 last month. So still young. It looks a good prospect. I mean, afterwards, obviously, Pep talked about, we've seen that picture of the 3 kids together, Hamilton, Lewis and
Lewis Hamilton and Bob.
Lewis Hamilton and Bob. Oh, come on. There's got to be a Formula 1 joke in there somewhere. Well, Lewis Hamilton is Bob. He's been Bob this season, hasn't he? So there you go. Lewis Hamilton is Bob. But no, it's a fun. To be honest, it's been fantastic. Pep talked about him in his press conference. You know, effusive with his praise. Loves the kids, loves what they're doing, and you really can't knock them. They've been fantastic.
No, it's nice, isn't it? Because we have been saying on this cast and other casts that we're not aware of any of these young lads coming through, and all of a sudden we've discovered certainly one, perhaps a couple.
Well, I was concerned because I've said it in the past. I've said that we've been lucky enough to have great kids coming through. Okay, that we've heard of. But suddenly we've got nobody that I've heard of. And I don't follow it as much as I used to. I used to follow the EDS and stuff. When Cole Palmer was coming through, when Liam Delat was there, when the McAtees were there, stuff like that. So I used to follow all that sort of stuff. But now I don't follow it as much. I haven't got time. I don't follow it as much. But I haven't heard these names. So I've heard a few names, but I haven't seen much of them. And there's not been a lot of hype. When Cole Palmer was coming through, there's a lot of hype. McAtee, a lot of hype. Even with Tommy Doyle, a little bit of hype. So, they were a good generation of kids. Now there's not so much. So it's good to see these two kids, especially coming good even. I'm just trying to see I know this was Micah's first game for City, wasn't it? Was that his debut? Yeah. He's never played in the senior squad. But he's been here for a long time. So
since he was about 9, was it?
9 years old. 9 years old. There's a picture doing the rounds and a video, I think, of he was a ball boy. A Premier League game he was at home to Crystal Palace. And Pep was giving him instructions. So Pep was asked about that at the press conference.
Yeah, then he slapped him across the face. I saw that, yeah.
But Pep said he's been working with the first team occasionally, so which is good. And Pep referenced other players, Bazunu and others that have come through and gone on to make it elsewhere. And whether we sell them, whether we keep them, the academy is doing as well. Either, as I said, we've got players that can come through and potentially make it at City. Very difficult. We all know that. And others who are sold on, we make good money. So fantastic for these two kids. Very, very positive. We created a lot of opportunities. This is the positive stuff. We created must be 6, 7, 8 good opportunities, I think, in that game. We scored 3. So going forward, it's got to be reasonably happy. We also know that when you make a lot of changes, it is a bit disjointed, a bit dysfunctional. And the way City have been at the moment, we've been leaking goals like a bucket with a hole in it. So we conceded 2 more goals. But in the 6 minutes of highlights that I saw them have 7 chances. Red Star had 7 chances, good chances in that game. They scored from 2 of them. They hit the post from 2 of them, and they had 3 other good opportunities. So, yes, I accept that we've got a lot of fringe players, kids playing, a lot of changes, and it's not going to be smooth. But how worried are you that we are just so open and teams are having someone like Red Star should not be having, even with the second string City side, 7 good chances to score goals?
Well, yeah, I think they actually had 11 chances to our 10 as far as on goal. But in all fairness, in respect to City, until Kovacic went off, which is when they scored their first goal, the defence didn't look. It looked troubled a couple of times. You'd expect that in any game, but I thought we coped really well. And I think as soon as Pep made that substitution, we just went to sleep a little bit. It was 2-0. It was a key moment. Yeah. Next goal, if we score, it's all over. If they score, they're back in it, with 20 minutes to go. But he took Kovacic off on the basis, I think, he's probably going to try and play him against Palace. And that's the only reason he probably took him off. Otherwise, I think he would have stayed on. And that's my... All right, it's only 71st minute, something like that. But that 75th minute, that was it. And then they scored in 76 minutes. It just disrupted us. And, of course, it gave them that little bit ability to get in. They did have 1 or 2 chances as well. They had one of the post ones was offside, so it doesn't really count as such. It was from a free kick, and the guy was offside on the free kick anyway, so that wouldn't have mattered. But he should have scored it. I mean, I don't know how he missed it. I thought what the hell's going? I thought Sterling was back on the pitch, but all fairness, as a 2-0, I was quite confident. But of course, give them a chance, give them that little bone, if you like, and they're back in it. And of course, the fans are back up for it. The atmosphere didn't sound that intimidating on the TV, but of course, it's different when you're there. Yeah, but they were back in it at 2-1, and that's all because we got a little bit of disruption. Don't forget, the young kids probably tiring at that time as well. So I'm not too worried. I mean, the 70 minutes before that, They probably did have one or two chances, but nothing more than any team would have in a normal football game. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. I thought defensively it was a bit like knife through butter when it happened, but Akanji and Stones were playing really well. They were the two guys in the middle, and they were controlling it very, very well. But they're not, they've never. I think is it something like they've gone 120 games at home without defeat in their own league or something like this. They're not, even though the bottom of the league, they've still got talent there, and we could see that last night. They've still got a couple of talented players, so I wasn't worried. I'm disappointed. I was on edge, when it went to 2-1, and that's why all credit. We'll talk about Kalvin in a minute. All credit to him to step up and, of course, hopefully win the game for us. But we still had a bit of a nervy ending after that. But I'm not too worried. As I say, we were tiring. Mainly a team that hadn't played together ever before was tiring. He made that substitution, which I can understand, but it did disrupt us slightly. And of course, we were sort of chasing our tails a little bit for the rest of the game then. But I'm not going to read too much into it.
All right. You mentioned Kalvin. I don't think you've gone through in any great detail as to how he played. So tell me about Kalvin.
Yeah, it was a funny performance from Cal. Is he trying too hard? I don't know what it is. But don't forget, he's all that team last night. They're playing perhaps, I'm sure they don't practice in that team in practice games because Pep wouldn't expect to play that team normally. So, they have to get used to each other. Kalvin, of course, had people like Kovacic. I thought Kovacic played extremely well last night. He got a bit of criticism in Simon Bukowski's, but I thought he was one of our better players last night. Yeah. I'll have to admit, I was struggling to recognise some players. I was mixing up Nunes with Kovacic and Kovacic, all these, and obviously the young lads. I was mixing all them up in my head. So every time I saw a guy get a ball, I had to say in my mind, "Oh, that's such and such, and that's such and such." But I thought Kovacic played well. Nunes played well. Nunes played very, very well. His final ball was rubbish, but of course Kalvin, it was. He didn't quite work. He didn't quite. There's no sort of link with the forwards, But who was forward? Grealish. Grealish was playing like number 9 until he went off. But get back to Phillips. He tries hard, but it sort of passed him by most of the game. He got booked for only one of our players to get booked. If that was, I think that was a shot window. Of course, it wasn't great. He sort of smashed it until, of course, he had the kahunas to step up and take the penalty. And if he hadn't have done that, I mean, I was rating him 4 or 5 out of 10. He'd had a bit of a shocker for me. He obviously got made up for by other players around him, but all credits to him for stepping up and a fantastic penalty. But it wasn't. He didn't put any money on his. The 20 million he's worth. He didn't increase it any by his performance last night. So a loan deal and a Mars bar, I think, is probably what we're going to get in January. That's about it.
Well, the thing is, I think Phil Foden was going to take that penalty. And obviously ends up as your man Kalvin.
I didn't know. I have no idea he was going to take. I was puzzled at the time. I thought, who the hell's going to take this? I just didn't think anyone on the pitch. Experience-wise, I thought Bernardo might step up. He was on the pitch, of course, for the last 20 minutes or so. As you say, Phil Foden. You think one of the? I didn't expect foul, but obviously in training, he must be able to put penalties away. So full credit to him, because I said if he'd had a great game, I half expected one of the young lads to step up and take it, because he does. But don't take that chance, guys. You've had a great game. Don't let yourself down by missing a penalty. But no, full credit to him. It's a shame. I just get more depressed with Kalvin because it's such a pity, because he's a lovely lad. I think he's a great lad, and it's just not happened.
Were you surprised that he played? Because, Pep...
No, not really. I mean, he's got to. I mean, Pep was willing. I think Pep was willing to lose that game last night, but I think the players performed far better than he thought they would. Or Red Star perhaps weren't quite as up for it, apart from when they had a sniff at it at 1 and 2-0. They thought, oh, we'll have a go here, and if we get a goal, we're back in it. But I don't think Pep was that worried. I thought for Phillips' own sake, Pep had to play him surely last night, which he did.
Yeah, so no, I mean, I was worried that Kalvin wouldn't get a game, and I just thought, how, what's the word? Not embarrassing, but how bad would it be not to play Kalvin again?
And also, we've got, the lad has got to go somewhere, hasn't he? So Pep knows from a financial, from a point of view for him and City, he's got to get him on the pitch and play to show that he still has faith in him at certain stages. Yeah. Otherwise, who's going to buy him? Who's going to loan him? Unless we give him away for now and they don't pay his wages, who's going to bother?
We need Kalvin to be sold, because there's no point loan out. Yes, I think
nobody can sell on rubbish, won't we? That's just just dragging on and on and on. I mean, we're ended up, we've still got a player on our books, and we can't do that, as you say. But have to take a reduced amount of money and sell the lad and hope and wish him all the best.
Yeah, no, it is a tough situation for City to be in, isn't it?
It's a mistake. We made a mistake. I don't think any of us thought it was a mistake, because he's still he's an international player. But for some reason, in City's setup, it doesn't work. But in someone else's setup, it probably will. Yeah.
So we'll hope for the best for Kalvin. Hopefully he'll go in January. There's no point him being at City, because we saw in I can't remember the game where Kalvin Phillips where Rodri wasn't there. We had John Stones, we had Rico Lewis, Bernardo, Akanji in midfield,
and he could find himself behind this Sohu as well, who's obviously been hinted at as he's a DM, isn't he? I believe, or that's his role. We did bring him on last night, but even he's being touted now as a potential.
So I think the best thing is a clean break. Sending him out on loan is the last resort for me. The best thing is just send him out. Newcastle, that's the ideal place, but Newcastle. You've got to still be careful that they just don't have money to throw around, because they've got FFP. But on the other hand, obviously they got knocked out of the Champions League last night.
Would you be happy with him going to United?
No. Not bothered. Not bothered. I'd like to think he wouldn't go, but I'd like to think he wants to move on, because, look, he's got the 3 trophies. There's no point let's say we win a treble this season, he'll be known as the guy who played 5 games to win 2 trebles. I don't see any benefit in that. I think he's best moved on. Newcastle is for me is the place for him to go, because at least you're not going to Man United, which he's been at Leeds as well. Remember, so Leeds and City fans would hate him. Go to Newcastle; they're on the up. Even if it's on a loan, I don't want it to be on a loan, but he needs to be out of the club. We need to move on. He needs to move on. We won the group. We knew that already. We topped the group. We've got 18 points. And Pep said in the press conference that Ferran is happy, because obviously we get the money, 2.4 million quid for that. And we roll on. And we'll wait to see.
Is it Monday the draw, is it?
Sorry? Yeah.
Is it Monday?
On a Monday. I will check.
What are the chances of in getting Inter or PSG in that?
Well, I guess it's a good chance. I guess it's a reasonably good chance. So it's going to be 11 o'clock on Monday. Who could we get? Who could we get? Well, we'll talk about it another time. We'll talk about that another time. It's for another video. We'll talk about who we could get and what could happen. Bernard, thank you so much, my bald, beautiful friend, or bald, beautiful buddy, or whatever you want to call it.
BBB.
BBB, you take care. And guys, thank you for joining us and watching this video. We'll see you around, Blues.